I love anime. More specifically, anime openings. I have a playlist of over 400 deleted anime openings. There was also a point in my life where I listened to only anime openings. Although that time has passed, I'm still proud of knowing so many anime openings to the point where I tested my skills at various anime opening quiz games, at various conventions, and won all of them. But anyway, if you followed or watched my channel for a while, you can see that I've done some anime opening videos before, and I have some more in the pipeline. For my 100 subs special, I decided I'd share my top 10 favorite anime openings. But wait, obviously you've seen the title, so this isn't a top 10, but actually a top 20. When choosing my top 10, I made an honorable mentions list, and it was so long that I decided to make a top 20 instead of a top 10. Before we start, I just want to let you know that some openings will have more information than others, because I haven't seen the shows to some of the openings. So just keep that in mind. Also keep in mind that I'm not the best at describing my feelings with music since I don't know much terminology, so here's my best try. But enough about that, let's get right into it. Number 20. It's easy for me to say I love this opening for every single one because I tend to do that, but I'll go a little more in depth. So this opening is done by Uverworld, which is such a good band, who only delivers songs straight out of the oven. They are so hot, with such songs as It starts with that reversed song kind of sound, gradually adding instruments and intensity in terms of sound until that first hit into the chorus, which is usually at the beginning for a lot of anime openings, makes the song super hype and makes you bop to that beginning part. Coupled with the fact that the visuals are super cool looking, kinda scribbled, kinda rough in terms of the backgrounds, it makes for a fantastic opening. Number 19. This is another case where the song brings you in instantly with its powerful start, giving you a taste of the chorus before going into the slow build-up back into the chorus. So I love strings in any song, and with this, it's a rock song with your typical drums and guitar, but it has piano and strings. Nut. Like, you've heard the first couple seconds of the opening, but it really is the best part. That intensity right from the start is just so good. Not only does it have great music, but the visuals are good too. I like to see openings as portraits of the show. A lot of the times they show what the show is going to be about, or show what a certain arc is about, in the case of shonen. This show does exactly that. It shows off every character and a bit of who they are. It shows some of the adventure, other characters who are part of the journey I believe, and characters fighting. And this is all paired with the song. This creates some exciting moments for the eyes and ears working together to create this masterpiece of an opening. Number 18. Now, Angelic Layer is a show that I've seen a couple times now, and every time I rewatch it, I can't skip the opening. Now, it sounds like another generic anime opening with the chorus at the start, the slow build-up, and the chorus finishing out the song, but it truly is a winning formula, which I'll talk about eventually in a video in the future. This song gets you hooked instantly. No slow intro into beginning chorus, no, it's just there's a sick guitar or something in the background with what sounds like electronic drum beats and a bunch of other things, including strings. My fave. It sounds very 2000s, and I love that. Now the visuals aren't super involved this time, but they do the job. It shows Hikaru, the main character, playing Angelic Lair, which is a game where you control a doll that fights using your mind, and throughout the opening, it shows all of her opponents slash friends, and it shows Angelic Lair in action. I like the part where it has both Hikaru and her doll floating in like an ethereal plane and they hold hands. It shows the most obvious thing of her and her doll being connected, which is the most important thing about the game of Angelic Lair. You need to be in sync with your doll or else controlling it will be impossible. There's also one last part in the opening that has Hikaru running towards her mother, which is the whole main plot of the show. She comes to Japan to find her mother, but ends up getting sucked into the world of Angelic Lair. With the angelic singing voice of the main singer paired with this bumpin' beat, it makes for such a divine opening. Number 17. Now, it's no secret that I love the Persona franchise, especially Persona 4. I've posted about it on my socials, and I'm currently doing a playthrough of the Persona series starting with 4, which you should check out if you get the chance. Anyway, Persona 4 is my favorite game of all time, but I actually watched the anime before playing the game. So Persona 4 has two animes, one for OG Persona 4, which is really good in my opinion, and one for Persona 4 Golden, which is super bad. But what isn't bad is this slappin' OP. The female singer for Persona 4 is one of my favorites. Shihoko Hirata sings this straight banger, and it's super good. Visually, this opening pops just like the game. The thing I like about all the Persona 4 anime openings is that they call back to the original game opening. Persona 4 Golden is basically a copy of Golden's opening up until the Velvet Room part. After that, until the part where the logo shows up, that's all original. I like it because it shows all the characters, the Velvet Room, the first murder but covered up with police tape, and then all the characters doing flashy dances that are mirrored, and then it shows the logo. My two favorite things about the visuals are how the credits are integrated with the visuals with the police tape or the tarot card at the end, and the part with you at the end with the social stats behind him being completely full. Since this is Persona 4 Golden, the show does the story like it's a New Game Plus route, skipping a majority of the story and only really touching on the new stuff, which doesn't work well for an anime, but looks cool for the visuals. I really enjoy both Golden's opening and the Golden animation opening because they are super happy and joyful, unlike what the game covers, which is a serial killer killing specific targets that the investigation team has to figure out. I just feel this opening is a better fit than the original one, but I'm getting a little off topic. This opening is more slow build up than chorus, and then when that chorus hits, oh boy do I want to dance till I can't anymore. It's such a catchy beat with Shihoko Hirata's high and smooth voice, I can't help but listen to it on repeat. Number 16. Now you're probably thinking, this is a joke, isn't it? No, it's not. You might ask it even more with the next one, but let me tell you why these next two aren't a joke, starting with this one. First off, this beat is bumpin'. How they use the instruments in the background makes for such an infectious beat that it's just too good to not dance to. Watch this video. The drop into the faster part of the opening is so good. I also really like openings where the main cast sings the opening, and this is one of them. Matching the music comes to hectic visuals. These visuals are so good. There's shots of the city they explore, since this is a cute girls doing cute things show where 3 girls explore a city. There's a bunch of shots of the girls just talking to each other with text bubbles, shots of the girls hanging out together, shots where the visuals match perfectly with the music, like with the whistle part, which is also my favorite part of this opening because of how it flows into the intense chorus. There's also a down part where we see the girls alone in a gray space, but then it shows them all together in that space with the colors exploding into view. It's such a great way of showing like a form of boredom alone, but with friends, the world pops into color. It might seem like a bunch of random things, but that's because it perfectly encapsulates what the show's about. which is 3 hyperactive girls using their imaginations and sociability to explore what the city has to offer. It's such a hype opening that I definitely wouldn't mind playing on repeat. Number 15. This opening is so catchy and enjoyable that there was one day where it was the only song that I listened to over and over again. I ended up listening to the song like 50 to 60 times in one day. Now this is one of the openings where I haven't seen the show, but I've seen the first 2 episodes. I really didn't like it because I thought it was kind of boring, but I probably just have to get back into it because of this absolute banger. As soon as it starts, it's like, this is another song where some of the cast sings the song, and this one is really cool because the characters do the together, and that's so fun. They also dance together, and the visuals move with the music, making it super catchy. This is another instance where the credits are integrated with the visuals, and it looks really nice. It also does a good job showing the personality and the characteristics of each of the characters. Every character in this show is incredibly quirky in their own way, and with this bubbly and super slappin' OP, it really fits the atmosphere the show is giving off. Number 14. Alright, if you've seen my top 10 favorite anime singers video, Akino from Blessed 4 is on there as one of the top 3. In that video, I said either the Aquarion stuff or the Amagi Brilliant Park opening are among my favorites, but I should have said this song because it's incredible. From that first visceral scream, and with her voice matching the intensity of the instruments, which are super loud by the way, it gets you extremely hyped for a show that's extremely subpar. Now I can't say that, since I haven't seen the show, but most gacha game adaptations are bad because it's a game adaptation, and you can't really capture the feeling of actually playing the game with an anime. The visuals don't do much for me, honestly. A lot of it's just stills across the screen, which bother me personally, and also it just shows the characters, which there are way too many of. It also shows the animation used by the girls when they move with the gear on, and it's 3D. Now I don't have a problem with 3D, but it looks wonky here in my opinion. But I sidestep all of that for this fantastic song that's such a banger every time I listen to it. It's like a non-stop thrill ride, which fits what the show is going for, I guess. Number 13. Now the openings onward, I would have put in my top 10 if I didn't discover I liked other songs more than these, but these songs are top 10 worthy in my opinion. Anyway, this song starts out just like the last one with that visceral scream after a slow build up into that beginning chorus. It then slows down, but the vocalist has these parts where she kind of whispers into the mic, and it's paired with another track, and it's so nice. This track is layered with her doing other vocals too, and mixed with the strings, drums, and guitar. It's so expertly crafted. It's definitely a top 10 song for me, but not in the top 10. Now this might sound like a generic anime opening, just like the last one, but because of the intensity of the singers, it elevates this beyond just generic anime opening. The structure just makes it so much better because they take advantage of that hook in the beginning to draw you in, and draw you in it does. Although the visuals don't really do it for me, they do show some of the character personalities in one of the fights, but a majority of it is just showing off the characters standing there, doing like one pose or grimacing. Not much action for a show all about action, but again, sidestep for this flamin' track. Number 12. So spoilers first off, because this opening shows stuff that are big reveals for Danganronpa 1 and 2, and I'll be discussing it in detail, so be warned. Anyway, this opening has been a favorite of mine even before playing any of the series or watching any of the anime. It was shown to me one day by my sister's boyfriend and I fell in love. The vocalist doesn't raise her voice higher than a certain point, and even then it's not even like she's screaming or anything. It stays at this constant whisper. It makes it so that the entire song leaves you with chills, at least for me. With all that layering going on with the vocals, especially at specific parts, like the part with Nagito, that erupts me with chills. It sounds so nice. The backing track is fairly quiet and simple in the beginning, but as the opening keeps going, and especially at the Nagato part and the Junko part, the music slows to the crawl with minimal instrumentation, and then to an explosion of everything. Lyrics, vocals, everything. The layering at the chorus is so well crafted. You have parts that are louder than others, or parts that are softer than others, but it's so well timed that it makes such an impact than if it was just the main vocals. It's made by an expert after all. Now when it comes to the visuals, it doesn't do much for me until the chorus portion. Most of it is just shots of the many Danganronpa 2 cast together on one panel for multiple panels. It might just be stills of the character, but each character has something on them, or just from the way that they're posing that shows the character's personality. I especially like the still of Nagito in front of the revolver barrel. It's probably a callback to in Danganronpa 2 where he plays Russian roulette with an actual gun with 5 bullets in the chamber and survives, since he's the real Ultimate Lucky student. It's also good because it shows off his remnant of despair personality. Next is the part with Junko. She holds everyone in her hands because she's despair incarnate, and she controls everyone within her hands. Behind her is her sister Mukuro, I believe, and they work together to create despair for everyone. It also shows the teacher responsible for all these kids, because this is before the events of Danganronpa 2. And it shows a girl at the end who the openings later reveal as Chiaki, who's best girl in Danganronpa 2. Anyway, this opening does so much for me that it would definitely be a top 10 contender if the other openings weren't just so good. Number 11. This opening really surprised me. It was so close to getting into the top 10, but I figured there's better openings than this one. But don't be mistaken, this was extremely close. Anyway, Myth and Roid is one of those bands that has such a unique style. I honestly don't know what to call it, but every song they produce is such a banger. Now, of course, we've got more strings, but to me they sound like a main player, unlike some of the other songs. With that piano creating an uneasy feeling, the background beat being constantly used, and with that deep sounding cello, it all creates a sense of confusion and worry, which is what the show gives off.
Let me explain.
Boogie Pop was one of those shows that came out in the late 90s to early 2000s that falls in a subset category of psychological horror / thriller called dementia, or what in the world is happening type of show. Now I feel like these shows have more of an idea rather than a story. For example, we got Lane. That show's about Lane discovering the wired and losing herself in the process. I feel like these shows are more about making a statement than anything, but they also do a good job in confusing the audience a lot. Boogie Pop does this because it's about a spiritual entity known as Boogie Pop that people take as a myth, but little do they know that she's real and she's there to end people's suffering in the public's eyes. But she's actually there to solve problems for the most part. It was more of a short story type thing where an event would occur, then Boogie Pop would be there. It's hard to explain since the story is kind of everywhere. It's also tough because I've only seen the first episode of this, but I know about Boogie Pop. But anyway, back to the opening. Because of all the instruments and the vocals working together, it creates this sense of dread that is unparalleled when it comes to openings, besides maybe Paranoia Agent. It also helps that the opening just jumps to random events with no real showing of what's going on, which further helps this "what in the world is going on" type vibe. I've really enjoyed it because the visuals match the music really well and also show off the various arcs dealt with in the show from what I've heard. I might be wrong on that front, but if that's true, that's really cool. The visuals are also extremely clean and fluid, which makes it a joy to watch next to the visuals matching the song almost perfectly. Myth and Royd is usually a band that makes bangers, but this song is definitely their best in my opinion. It gives me chills every time. Now I really enjoy all of these songs, and it was tough to put together this list since I don't really like to rank things. My scale is mostly, everything is pretty good, until I see something that's either really good or really bad. But just you wait till part 2 where we talk about my top 10, which is much of the same honestly, besides 1 and 2. I hope you guys enjoy it and enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next part.